Hi there, people. I know it's been a while since I've done one of these. It's been strange times. The last few weeks have been a bit, should we say, different. But start on a positive. Capt.Tom, what an absolute legend. As I'm talking now, I've just checked. The guy has raised £23 million by walking around his garden to do something positive to help what's going on at the moment with the coronavirus and to help the NHS. So this is a guy who's 99. He's 100 at the end of this month. Has decided that he will do something to help, but we have still got a percentage of this country that could all they need to do is stay indoors to help matters, and they won't fucking do it. And that's what really pisses me off at the moment, is that you've got people like him, and there's another lady I think I've read about who's also in her 90s that's basically walking up and down her stairs, and they're clocking how many stairs she's going up and down, and people are sponsoring her to do that, and she's raising hundreds of thousands of pounds at the moment, and she's heading towards raising millions. So you've got these people that really are at a time of their life where they should be kind of being looked after, and they decided they're going to look after the people that are suffering. And then you've got perfectly healthy people that all they're being asked to do is stay the fucking doors, and they won't do it, and they're going out when they shouldn't be. Today I had to go out to do some shopping, to just get some bread, milk and some other bits and pieces. I got stuck in a queue behind two people who were returning hair clippers back to Asda because they'd used them, and now apparently they'd stopped working. So basically what they're doing is, there's nowhere to get your hair cut at the moment. Obviously check my barnet out, you can see that there isn't anywhere to get your bloody hair cut at the moment. And they're basically people buying clippers in Asda and supermarkets at the moment. I've heard this happening in a few places now. Cut their hair with them, clean them all up, take them back. Oh, these aren't working anymore, can I have my money back? And then they'll probably go back in 5 or 6 weeks' time if the barber still ain't open, and clip their hair again and basically get free haircuts. Well, fuck you. That's not essential purchases, is it? To go and get your hair cut and to go and rip off supermarkets by getting clippers for nothing. If I was Asda, I would say once you've used those clippers, you can't return them. Surely there's a risk of spreading stuff that you've been basically scraping it over the top of your head and your scalp. So they can't be sold again. They're basically ruined. So it should be similar to when you buy kind of certain items of clothing. If you've tried them on, you can't take them back, because if you've removed the protective covering on them, they're unsaleable. It should be the same with clippers. That it can't be that these two guys were just the two unluckiest guys around at the moment that bought the same pair of clippers, and both of them have had clippers that have gone wrong, coincidentally after they've had their hair cut. So both these guys were in front of me. You can see that they've basically got newly clipped hair, very, very short hair. So they've just decided, go, pay, cut the hair, get the hair cut, take the fuckers back. Well, no, that's not essential shopping, is it, really, to go and buy a pair of clippers, or to queue up and make, go to a supermarket and get your money back. Don't buy them in the first place. That if you're not going to keep them, it's just, again, generating more queues, more people in the supermarkets, and people that just want to go in, get their essentials and get out again can't. Because I was literally stuck in the queue for about 45 minutes because they had to go and get someone from upstairs to come down and run it all through the till, and how are they going to give their money back? And the people were complaining, saying, well, they wanted their money back in cash, but they bought them on card. And then the other guy, it was the other way around. He paid by cash, but he wanted it put back on his card and all this kind of stuff. And it just basically made staying in the supermarket a lot longer than I really needed to, and a lot longer than everyone else really wanted to, because there were plenty of people stuck behind me in the queue. But then again, it's inconsiderate twats like that are causing the problem we're in at the moment. So we really need to kind of sort this out now. I'm not in favour of the police rifling through people's shopping baskets and basically putting them to task for not buying essentials, because let's be honest, we do go out in essentials of bread, milk and such like, butter, things to make day-to-day stuff. But you do kind of pick up the odd one or two things to go with it that are just like little treats just to get through this the shit situation we have at the moment. And I don't think there's any need to kind of just say to people, you can only buy your basics and then take all other stuff off the shelves. You know, the similar situation with the thing with Easter eggs and stuff like that. No, they're not essential. And if you were just going out to the supermarket to buy cheap Easter eggs, then you are a bit of a twat for risking your health and your life, basically, at the moment, to get a cheap 50p Easter egg that was £3. You know, fuck me, what's your life come to if you're worth risking your life to spend 50p on a fucking piece of chocolate? But unfortunately, we do have the dickhead element in society at the moment that are doing stuff like that. But we have got a lot of positives at the moment. You know, we've got, as I mentioned, people raising money for charity. We've got the big night in coming up this Thursday that should be interesting. And people are trying to help staying indoors that bit better. You know, a lot of artists are coming together. A lot of comedians have kind of done free online stand-up shows from their houses and stuff like that. So people are really, really trying to kind of make staying in not as difficult. However, the minute it was announced that after 3 weeks of being in lockdown it was going to be extended for another 3 weeks, a lot of people completely lost their fucking minds over it and kind of said, oh, why we got to stay in for longer? Well, I think the reason is if you bother to read the news or watch the news just for 5 minutes, when you've got people dying at the rate of anywhere between 700 to 900 a fucking day, that's the very reason why we're staying in, because we want to stop that happening. We want to bring that down lower and lower and lower and not have so many people die. But I just don't think some of these fucking idiots get the sheer size of how many people are dying. You know, I think these people, perhaps one of these things they need to do is when they fine these people for going out when they shouldn't and having social gatherings when they shouldn't, take them to a fucking morgue and show them what 100 people look like and say, right, imagine that 9 times over, and that's how many people have died today. And that's how many people in the hospital have had to deal with day after day after day, person dying after dying after dying. And the thing is, this thing, when it is all kind of said and done, there are still going to be repercussions afterwards. You know, similar to like people that fought in the Gulf War and stuff like that with PTSD. People are going to get PTSD about this. You imagine, you just normally work in a care home, or you're working in one of the more quieter hospitals or something like that, or you've retired and you came back to help, and you've literally had to go in day after day and watch a dozen people die every day, 30 people die every day, 100 people die in a week or something like that where you work, and it's just relentless. Every person that comes in, that's going to have an effect on you mentally. That really is going to affect you. You've got to be some kind of tough character to not be affected by that. So people are going to need support after this is all said and done. And I think charities need to be set up now, going forward, to support the people when this is finished, to kind of get them over when their brain kind of stops kind of blocking out what's going on because they're so concentrated on helping us. Then it comes to the point where we're going to need to help them, and we're going to need to kind of rally around. Because my worry is that when this is all said and done and everything is back to normal, everyone will forget about these heroes and it'll just go back to things being normal again. A very, very interesting survey I saw taken online was they asked people, when things are kind of sorted out regarding the coronavirus, do you want to go back exactly how things were before that? And you know, only 19% of the people they interviewed said yes, they would like things to go back to how they were before the virus. Everyone else is kind of bought in with this whole, you know what, we don't spend enough time together, we don't look in on our neighbours, we don't look in on the people around us, we don't care about people around us anymore, we don't appreciate the people that kind of go as unsung heroes. And people are kind of going, no, I want to carry on being like that. I want to appreciate the little jobs that are done that matter so much. And that's what, another thing that I've kind of thought about, thought to myself, we turned into a generation, not me personally, because I wouldn't put myself in that, and probably most of you watching this aren't, but we turned into generation me. And it's all about me, me, me. What's in it for me? What do I get out of it? What's in it for me, kind of thing. And bollocks to everyone else. And it's refreshing that it's changed. People have changed that, and they're kind of keeping an eye on people that they just used to walk past in the street that they lived in. And people are kind of thinking, "Do you know what? We don't spend enough time as a family together, not just doing our own thing and going out and getting pissed and stuff like that. We are kind of staying in and finding activities to do, watching a film together, playing a board game together, doing an activity together, watching something that's been put together online by someone to keep you entertained." And a lot of people are kind of saying when this is finished, they're not going to give up what they're doing now. They are going to make time to spend time with their families. They are going to look out more for the elderly and the vulnerable in society. They are going to appreciate the people that before this were doing jobs that everyone kind of looked down on. And it's amazing now that the jobs that people look down on, like your people working in your supermarkets and stuff like that, that people kind of thought, I wouldn't ever allow myself to work in a supermarket, and now kind of thinking, without these people, we'd be up shit creek without a paddle. And I said it before and I say it again, I make a point of whenever I go into a supermarket to thank any member of staff that helps me, or just to thank members of staff that are around, just to make them know that, you know, we're not all selfish bastards. You know, today again, when I was in the supermarket today, you got the twats with the hair clippers. You got two guys in front, and there's big signs up everywhere outside most supermarkets now saying that you've got to go in one at a time. These two blokes in front of me, larking about in the queue, pushing and shoving each other, just not basically giving a toss about what's going on around them. People getting nervous because of the social distancing thing, and they're larking about and pissing about. They go to both walk in the door. Security quite rightfully say to them, no, stop a minute. One at a time. They started arguing. In the end, security, just to kind of not have any aggro, just let the pair of them in. And do you know what they were going in to buy? Beer. That's all they were going in to buy. They walked in, saw an offer that Asda had on 3 crates of beer for 21 quid, started shouting and bawling about how many they could buy, and basically filled up 2 trolleys just full of beer. Now, to me, it's not an essential. I know some people, you know, do socialise and they're drinking indoors, and I haven't got a problem with that. But the sheer volume of what they were buying, I can't imagine it was just for those two. My worry is that it was to take away in some kind of party somewhere or some kind of gathering somewhere. And I think the supermarkets need to be a bit more responsible in things that they put on offer. Putting beer on offer is basically putting temptation people's ways to have a party, and then that's going to encourage the whole breaking the social distancing. So supermarkets, yeah, they want to make money and they don't want to disappear, but they're not. They're one of the few businesses that are going to make out of this. They're not going to go out of business. But then put things on offer that would be nice for people. You know, not everyone wants to get smashed out of their brains every night. Not everyone wants to break social distancing and hold parties every weekend. Some of us would just like to see the normal things that we buy put on offer, so you could kind of go, do you know what, I might treat myself and have and buy one extra of them, and put things on offer that people need on offer. You know, beer isn't really necessary. I know people are going to look at this and laugh and go ha ha ha, and I need beer, but really and truthfully, if you're kind of weighing up between let's all have a get together and you could risk spreading it around everyone and end up with people dying, or for a few months not drink as much, save some lives, cut a few weeks off being in lockdown, I think I know what I'd sooner pick. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like a pint as much as the next guy, but if someone said to me, you know, we're going to have to kind of curb the whole beer drinking thing while we're doing this lockdown because it's putting too much temptation that way, it's not going to bother me. I would sooner look at the fact that we're trying to save lives here. We're trying to not have put such a strain on the NHS, and we're trying to save fucking lives. And I think that's what people lose sight of, that we're doing all this thing. The whole reason why we're doing being stuck indoors and not being able to see our families is because we don't want anyone to die. Unfortunately, people are, but we want to try and reduce the amount of people that die and reduce the risk of people to people that could catch this horrible, horrible virus and die. But no, you still get the dickheads of society that think that they're doctors, they know better, they can just go out. and do what they like. And it's pointless me moaning about it on here, because these people won't even listen when they're told by doctors that have been dealing with viruses and various kind of medical problems for years, telling them you need to do this, and they're laughing in their face and saying no we don't, no we don't. So it's these videos I do just to kind of blow off a bit of steam, so to speak. Also, in regards to the social distancing, I think it was a bit dim of the police on Westminster Bridge letting all those people congregate. I'm fully behind the clapping on a Thursday. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we don't do it, but we've still got to, think of social distancing. And the sheer volume of people on Westminster Bridge on Thursday, there was no way they were 6 foot apart, and they're all around each other clapping and cheering and whooping. And I'm thinking, this is kind of making a mockery. The reason why we're clapping is to say thank you to the people that are trying to save people's lives, but you're endangering everyone and yourself around you by doing what you're doing now. So you're basically, what you're doing can have an adverse effect for what you're clapping against. So the police really needed to kind of split that up, but no, they're standing there joining in as well. And you're getting kind of stories in the press now where the police are getting a bit too trigger happy with people with the social distancing, telling people they can't play in the front garden, even though the front garden's big enough for their child to play in it, but they're not coming within 6 foot of anyone. People have got to get out and get fresh air and get some sun on their skin and see the outside world. If they've got a garden, you wouldn't go around to their back garden and tell them in their back garden they can't be out there. The front garden's no different. And police needs to calm it down when it comes to that, because there are police that are doing a very difficult job in some areas where it's really hard to control this social distancing. People are just being absolute morons. Manchester's got a particular problem with social gatherings and people having house parties and stuff like that. Well, here's my suggestion for that. If you're caught having some kind of party or whatever, everyone in that party gets a fine for being there. The person who hosted the party gets a fine for themselves, and then for every person that they've got at that party, they get that fine added onto theirs. So if they host a party with 20 people, they get their fine plus another 20 lots of fines added on top, and put them inside for 3 months. Get them out of society because they're a danger. Get them out of society until this thing calms down, because these people are wanting to risk their lives just because they think they're fucking clever and they don't want to be done what they're told. I would also go as far as it was reported by Sussex police that these fines they're dishing out, they dished out well in excess of 300 over the bank holiday weekend, of which a high percentage of them were to people who didn't live or come from the Sussex area. They travelled to Sussex for a day out. Now those dickheads need to have their fine trebled. Don't just pay one fine, pay treble the fine and stick them inside for 3 months, because these are even bigger morons. These are morons that kind of go, not only am I not going to stay indoors, but I'm going to go somewhere else and potentially spread it somewhere else, or potentially go somewhere else, pick it up and then bring it back home and spread it when I come back home. So these dickheads need to be sorted out as well. So give them treble the fine, put them inside for 3 months. You know what? The XL Centre's been turned into a Nightingale Hospital. Find another big area like that, another big stadium, and have it as a holding pen, and put all these fucking morons that won't stay in and stay at home, put them in a holding pen, and put them in the holding pen until this thing blows over, because they're too dangerous to have in society. I've already made a decision. If I see people on social media flouting the social distancing and basically sticking 2 fingers up at it, 1, I'm taking them off of Facebook altogether. 2, I'm done with them. I'm never speaking to them again. And I think everyone should do that. If you know people are doing this, ostracise them. All come together and say to them, do you know what? You're not part of our society. Fuck off. That's the way to deal with these morons. Because they are potentially going to cause this to go on for months and months and months. And some medical experts are even saying we could be still like this in a year's time if people still want to disregard the social distancing. Apart from that, we're still kind of not going to know what's going on with the football. Are they going to bring the season back in June and play behind closed doors? I know a few of the lower leagues and women's football have just basically stopped their season dead. I know it's causing a lot of hilarity amongst football fans that if it was declared null and void, that Liverpool wouldn't get the title despite being a mile in front, and it would make people's day. I've got to be honest about this. Yes, it would piss me off, but it would piss me off more if they brought the season back and it extended being stuck indoors and not being able to socialise and see my family more. I don't think sport is that important that sport comes before people's lives. I would sooner live to watch another football match another day than bring it back too early and risk people dying and never going to a football match ever again. I think there's a bigger picture here. Okay, it's going to be heartbreaking for anyone that's a Liverpool fan if they were to just stop the season and say this season never happened, because it's been so long. But let's look at the bigger picture here. Life and death isn't more important than football. I know there's been managers that have said that football's not just a game of life and death, it's more important than that. But let's be serious, it isn't. It's a game. I know it's a game that generates a lot of money and a lot of people like it, but if I was to kind of be put on a spot and said bring back the season early at the risk that lockdown and social distancing and not being able to see my family could go on till possibly this time next year, but hey, at least we get the season over and done with and we win the title, I would sooner say bollocks to the title, bollocks to the season. Let's just stay in, stick to what I'm meant to be doing and get this situation sorted and make sure that fewer people die as possible and everyone can get to meet up with their families again. That's the bigger picture. That's the more important thing. It don't matter what colour fucking football shirt you wear if that is the be all and end all of it. Football isn't more important than living or dying. It just isn't. And I've got to say that if it does look like they have to cancel this season, yes, it's going to go down in history as a season that we could have won. But this year is also going to go down in history of look at all the thousands of people that have died. And it's going to go down in history for the wrong reasons. So I would sooner, anything we can do to not make it as bad. I mean, it is bad, but not make it as bad. If we have to do that, we have to do that. We make sacrifices. We're all doing things that we'd love to do. There's things we'd love to do. We'd love to go and visit our loved ones. We'd love to go and visit our parents, our grandparents, stuff like that. We'd all love to do that, but we can't at the moment. And we're doing it because in the future, we want to be able to visit them again. And and it's hard to explain to children. That's the bigger picture. That's what we're trying to protect for the future. And sport isn't more important than that. Anyway, people, I've just clocked how long this has been going on for, and it's a bit longer than I wanted to. So goes without saying, please stay at home, stay healthy, stay safe. If you've got any ideas of what I can do on these rants and anything that you want me to talk about, feel free to either go on the Facebook page, go on the YouTube page if you're going to go and watch on the YouTube. On the YouTube page, if you can just kind of give the video a thumbs up and a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, that'd be much appreciated. But anyway, people, goes without saying, everyone stay safe. See you later, my lovelies.